Yeah. Like,
Get
who
the
cares
human
about
out
the
of the
people?
way.
The people are silly and funny. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, fascinating.
Yeah, just a tiny bit of processing on the IP things, right? Because I've actually called a couple of IPs. I'm like, hey, tell me what your greatest fear is. Because I'm seeing the fear of the IJ and the EJ and the EP, and I'm getting it.
Easier to see.
I'm feeling it. I can experience it myself. I know what it feels like if people are mad at you or there's too much chaos or control. I get it, right?
Yeah.
But I'm like, what are the IPs really fearing? Because it's like they seem like they have it all together. They got the double observer in the middle.
Because they don't share.
They got the self-confidence at the top, and then whatever they have a problem with, they go away. They're not even around the tribe when they're having their crash, so you don't even know what it is. So they're hard to track, And it was just along the lines of like their greatest fear is like, it was a bunch of different blocks that had to connect for me to really kind of see it and feel it. So I'll try and explain it real quick. It was just like the DI at the top, the IP, it's like they are so into whatever they're doing. So say they're trying to work on, making movies or lawns or computers or whatever it is. So they start stacking their reasons, TI, or stacking their values, FI.
Because it's about their identity and it's about their character. What role am I playing on this planet?
Right.
What's my role? Who am I?
Right, exactly. So they start stacking up. It's like the introverted functions like seem to stack. Like I'm getting like a picture of like Jenga blocks, and the extroverted functions pile.
Oh, yeah.
They pile it up. Like
I'll take all of them. I want to get all of it. I got to see the whole spectrum.
You and I pile up reasons. We don't stack reasons. And your pile may be higher than mine as Savior TE masculine, but you're still just grabbing a shit ton of piles of TEs and just throwing them around, where the TIs are like stacking it up.
Right.
And so it's like whatever you have at the top, you just keep stacking those Jenga blocks until they fucking fall over.
Yeah.
Because if you have that function in the middle, you're like, okay, that's high enough. Let me back off on the control, back off on this and that, because you have an opposite function that can see it.
Right.
So they're like stacking my confidence, my reasons, my identity, what I value, TIFI, whatever. And like, so like a double decided, like, okay, whoa, dude, that's getting really high. I mean, good job knowing what you value, knowing your reasons, but holy shit, you're way up there. Have you been cross-checking that with, oh, wait, you haven't.
Right.
And so everybody else can kind of like feel nervous for them. Like, dude, you're spending way too much time just on your point of view.
On your point of view.
Everyone else is getting nervous, and the IP is like, no, I don't feel it. I'm fine up here.
Yeah.
I'm stacking my identity. And then finally there's a crash, because then they feel like, oh my God, the tribe actually hates what I'm doing.
Yes,
or they're very hurt or very offended. And then there's that swing. Now, what's weird is like one reason the IPs won't be like bothering other people is like they're assuming everyone else is doing that.
So they don't want to insult anyone, even if the tribe is doing weird shit. They wouldn't want to offend the tribe if they're doing something that they don't want to be
which
told
creates
sucks.
a feedback loop, because pause for a second, do the math with the IJ. It's like, I'm assuming you're all stacking control.
Right.
So I don't
Everybody's planning, so don't cause everyone else chaos by giving them too much information.
Right. So I don't want to ask you about new shit that would benefit me if I did. Because I don't want to ask you about new shit, because I'm assuming you would be annoyed by that, and it would knock down. So it creates a negative feedback loop if I'm not asking about new stuff, because I'm assuming you'd be insulted if I asked you about new stuff, because you'd fucking insult me if you asked me about new shit. So I'm just assuming that's your fear too.
So every IP is going around thinking everyone else is playing this stupid IP game of like, I am building my identity. Oh, I
have good reasons why I do this, and if you were to challenge it, then I would be insulted, and I don't want to do that to you, so I won't ask you, which creates a negative feedback loop. Nobody's talking to anybody.
Okay, so what is it with FI? Then FI would be like, I'm building my identity on I hate and I love. I hate this and I love that, and I don't want to be questioned to explain shit. Get off me. This is something that matters to me. This is something that I see as my priorities. Get off me if you want an explanation. And you're just going to obsess about, well, I hate that. I love this. I hate that. I love this. Obviously, I'm not obligated to even check in with how does everybody else feel? How does the whole tribe, like, am I pissing off the entire tribe because I'm just all in on, well, these are my values. This is what matters to me. It's like, but does that burn down the whole tribe? And they're like, like, I don't want to check in there. I don't care. It's like, but if you're so in a dark hole of this is what matters to me, that you actually burn down relationships and you're not even checking in there, the people from your life would either just start disappearing or eventually, bang on your head if they need you to give back, because that's a giant void. It ends up being a giant void.
Yeah, right. Something like that.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah. So it's a very scary feeling, because again, it's like missing information on top of missing information.
Yeah.
Of like, you don't know what you don't know. You don't know how much there is a lack of feedback.
Right. It's like you lose touch with that fourth function.
Right.
Like you have some contact with your two middle functions.
Right.
Your demon middle function will tell you, hey, your savior middle function is getting a little weird. Check that shit.
Right.
And you can self-check and self-feel. But the first and the fourth, it's just like, it's just on its own.
Right.
And there's no self-check.
Right.
And you just get that weird anxiety, like, I think something's off. I think I'm...
God, and back to the I'm not allowed disease, they would never feel like they're allowed. Back to you're not allowed to ask the tribe.
You're not allowed to ask the tribe. If you're an IP, you can't ask the tribe because you'd be insulting them.
Yeah, you have to be self-sufficient. Do not ask the tribe for anything because the tribe is a bunch of idiots. And it would be embarrassing. I would think that the DIs would be way too embarrassed to ask for help because that would lower their status. It would lower their, I'm the greatest, coolest. And if I ask for help, then that makes me look dumb. Therefore, I'll never do it. Therefore, I won't actually gain.
It just feels like if life is about race cars. And you're DIOIing your race car,
right?
And your race car is not firing up, and
right.
this is a competition.
Right.
That if I stop what I'm doing and ask you help,
right.
Like, hey, how'd you get your race car? Then I'm automatically losing.
Right.
So I'm not going to ask you for help.
I hear imposter syndrome. Like the IPs absolutely fear on top of fear, the imposter syndrome game.
I've never had that. I've never felt that.
I've never felt that either. But I see.
You haven't? As an EJ, you don't feel imposter syndrome?
No,
like
fuck no. No, hell no. I go and I get the skills.
Oh.
I go obsessively get the skills. So in my world, everything that I get, I earned. Like I got to the top of my class and I earned that. Therefore,
then as an EJ, then as you earn it, then
it is fair.
Then you'll feel like you don't deserve it. So it's like
if I got something that I didn't deserve, then I would be I wouldn't even say imposter syndrome because I'm not even referring to identity.
Yeah, that's an interesting one.
I'm not referring to identity. I would just be like, no, Jimmy and Susie and Bobby helped me. And that's how I deflect the praise.
Yeah.
But see, the interesting thing about the DI is that they want that praise. They want the significance. So they would take the significance and they'd be like, shit, I'm going to get found out.
Right.
I'm going to get found out that I'm kind of a bullshitter.
Right.
Like they're not going to know that I'm taking in, you're saying like the self-significance, the DI is like taking the compliments because it's like, what is the opposite of an EJ?
We see that. Yeah.
The EJ deflects compliments. They're not allowed to take those on.
No, we saw that the management lady. Yeah, just like we give her a couple. Oh, thank you. Keep coming with the compliments.
Right,
okay, I'm going to start giving you fake compliments.
I know. You end up getting lied to.
Of work that I did, but then I'm going to put your name. Oh, thank you. I'll take that too. You're like, oh, wow, this is weird.
Okay, so this is what happens with the DI. We'll say this and we'll get back to
We'll take a break.
We'll take a break.
We'll take a rub our eyes break.
Oh my God. Okay, so the last point here.
Yes.
The DEs deflect compliments. So therefore, they're not able to build up good enough. Oh my God, stop doing that, right? Like actually take some of those and put them in your fucking bucket and close the bottom of the bucket, you empty bucket idiots. Okay, so there's that. The opposite problem is that the DIs are like, I will take that. I will take that compliment.
And they're stacking it too high.
They're stacking it way too high.
Like, hey, asshole. You don't get to walk away with 1,000 compliments high. Everyone else has got 5 to 10, and you got 1,000.
But the tribe senses that, whether consciously or unconsciously. So they will start feeding you lies, and you'll be like, "I'm doing great. The tribe loves me," and they're just like, "Here, just give this guy a compliment to get that bullshitter."
That's what we do to IPs in our life. Yeah,
I know, it's sad. It's very, very sad. And of course, we're not consciously doing it all the time. Sometimes consciously, but like,
just give them a compliment because that's the only thing that gets them to move.
God. Oh my God.
They won't play the observer game with you, which is the realest game in town,
right.
according to me. And they won't play the, EJ, you suck, everybody hates you game. So like, whatever.
Right, they don't care. I don't want to take that on.
They'll move if you give them a compliment. Man, you're so awesome. You're just so good. Like, hey, thanks, man. I've been working on it for a long time. I'm glad you can see that.
Right. So be careful about whatever it is that you are stacking. For me, it's a pile of shit, a pile of dumb, fake reasons. For you, it's planning. For the DIs, it's going to be, I'm piling up.
Compliments of self.
Yeah, self-significance. All right, let's take a break.
Yeah, so you want a G-Wagon for your 16th birthday?
I need my G-Wagon. There's no question. I need it.
There's no question?
Yeah.
Why do you need a G-Wagon?
I really want the G-Wagon.
Well, I understand you want it, but why do you said I need the G-Wagon. Why do you need
I really like the way it looks. I've wanted one for over 2 years now. Every time I see them, you see so many of them near my house, and every time I see one, I'm in awe. I love them.
My car doesn't cost $231,000.
Why not? I mean, why doesn't it?
That just seems like an exorbitant amount to spend on a car. It just seemed foolish to me. I just wouldn't spend it on a car.
Well, I want to. We're talking about me here.
Yeah,
this is my show.
But you need to work out something where she becomes productive and makes a contribution to society instead of taking from society.
I think the best thing would be to start with a job.
No.
Yeah, absolutely,
No.
she needs a job.
No.
You need
Take me outside.